Hey guys, what's crack-a-lacking? Well, I'm in the middle of working on this ignition system for this car out here you've seen in the first part of this series. Don't mind that banging noise down there. That's the 625 special to Birmingham going through, hitting the joints down there, I guess. But anyway, as I got into this and I got the harness out of the car out there and started working on it and all that, I just came back to this kit here a few different times, and I just really don't really care much for this, so I think I'm gonna go back to the well on this and sort of rethink this, and I'll tell you why that I don't like it specifically. So this is, I'll tell you what this is so you know. Some water here, what we're looking at. This is sort of an integrated ignition coil and module assembly from about I'd say a 95 or 96 on up to maybe a mid 2000s, early 2000s Chevy Blazer, the S10 and the Blazer with a 4.3 liter, I guess a port fuel injected engine. This one has a spider in the intake and all that causes all that problem, and well, those things go bad, but that's a different story. But anyway, this thing is, it's a neat idea, and it's pretty well made. It's basically just has your coil here, which is an epoxy filled E-core type coil, and a 12 volt connector to the harness, and then the spark plug terminal here, and then this is your module, and this is your heat sink for the module. Man, that sounds rough, doesn't it? So anyway, that's what this is. And this, you know, I was going back looking at the first kit I made and on that truck, and I noticed that I had not used this type of module on this. The module that came on this was, I think it might have been a 7-pin or 5-pin or 8, whatever, don't matter. But it was a different one that had a plug here on it. So I remember now changing this. So this is not the module that would normally you would find on this. So if you get one of these out of the junkyard, you might as well just take the module off of it. But anyway, I'm not crazy about this because of a couple things. Number one, I saw where this coil, I don't know if this coil is arcing, if it's failed or what's happened, but that sure looks like an arc or a spark has been jumping, but I could be wrong about that. But that's what it looks like. The second thing is, I don't like this harness connector because this harness connector uses it's a GM specific, it's a nice one. I mean, it's a weather pack type, it's got a seal on it, but it's got some kind of puny wires on it, small gauge wires on it, and I like to never figured out which was positive and all that, which that's just kind of a particular thing with me I didn't like, and didn't really affect its performance, I guess. And then it's got this kind of a weird spark plug terminal. It's got a real thin little, I don't know if you can see that. Put some light on this, but it's sort of a thin little terminal tower in there, I guess you'd call it. I don't know what, I guess it would work fine, but it's smaller than what I'm used to and I've seen before. So anyway, that said, I'm just not crazy about this GM coil. I like the concept, I don't like the coil. So what I decided to do today is go down to LKQ there in Huntsville. They were having their, I guess it's their little Easter weekend 40% off sale thing going on. So we went down there. I didn't know that until I got there, but that's what was going on. And I thought I would just spend some time shopping for some OEM parts to kind of redo this because I don't like that. And so I didn't like the way it was looking. I didn't like the none of it. So anyway, that's what I did. Went down there and part of the reason I also want to go down there was because that I'd been, decided I was going to put a relay in this because of these cars kind of weak charging system, and so I thought it'd be a good idea. So that was the plan, but I went looking around for a relay, and all you can find at the parts store anywhere in this area of the country are those super cheap, super terrible, junky, off-brand Dorman or some other kind of name you don't even recognize. Those little 30 amp relays. They say, 30 amp relay. It's a little plastic job, and they're about $9 or $10 for one of those. And the problem with that is not only are they cheap Chinese junk, but they are not suitable for continuous duty, which means you keep them energized all the time. But they're good for it. If you look on the back of the package, it'll say something along the lines of alternating device, which I take that to mean it's not continuous. It means it's on and off, on and off, on and off. So it's, let's say they'll last 1,000,000 hours doing that, but I guarantee you run 20 amps through the thing for a day and it's probably junk. It's probably cooked. So that said, I thought, well, we're going to do better than this. So I got on the internet before I left for down there today, and I did a little bit of checking and looking around and to get some ideas about what cars to look for relays and relay boxes and stuff like that. I already knew about the coil because I knew that I wanted to look for a Ford TFI type coil, which works fine on these. And those vehicles that have those, which would be anything that does not have a coil pack on it. If it has a coil pack, it's not going to have a coil. So anything probably from mid-90s on up ain't going to have it. So there was a few trucks in there. They had straight six engines in them, and there was a Tempo, which I couldn't find a coil on it at all. And then finally, I found one on a Taurus, about a 93 Taurus with I think it was a 3-liter V6 in it, like a lot of them came with. And this is what I got off of that car. And this thing is super nasty, but looks original. The first thing you'll notice is that this thing has this big crazy bracket on it, which is going to have to be cut down. It's got some things here at the bottom. I don't even know. I know what they look like they are, but I don't know why they're on there. They were tied into the harness. This is a big ceramic, looks like a resistor. I don't know if it's just a resistor or a heat sink or what it is, but this bracket bolts on, like if you're looking into the engine compartment and the transmission's here and the engine's right here, right? Then this thing bolts onto the end of the head right there and all that. So this is way down low, and then it's got something that looks like a condenser on it. So you guys that are more familiar with Ford products, you probably know what this is, but I don't. So this is going to have to be adapted. We'll probably cut some of this off and smooth it down and everything. But this is a TFI coil, Ford TFI coil, and that's what I wanted. It's got the nice tower. Terminal ain't looking too good, but I guess it'll be all right. That's why they call it a junkyard. It's usually junk. That's a TFI coil, and I like these because they come off. They can be replaced out of the bracket. That one, you have to drill it to get it off. And this was even more good because it has a factory rain shield, water shield on the connector. That's the connector there. That's just your normal TFI harness connector. Well, most of them have 2 wires in them. This one has 3, which is, I'm not sure which side. These are easy to determine, quickly. You can quickly determine which is positive and negative on these. You guys probably already know. I don't remember, but so it's either got 2 negative terminals or it's got two positive. I don't recall which, but I'll find out. So that was neat. That's going to give that a very nice, more finished look, I feel like. And we'll, of course, clean this up. And if the coil is bad, then you can just simply unbolt it and put another coil on it, or a better coil, or whatever. So, good. All right, so the next thing somebody tipped me off about, and I'll tip you guys off about, is this is a relay block, which means it holds a bunch of relays. And I found this on about a 97 or 98 or 99 Ford Explorer. And so it's located, if you're looking at this thing, you're looking down in the passenger side of the engine compartment. It's this way, and you got the air, the intake for the air cleaners right here. It's kind of over it. This thing kind of sits down low on the frame rail, sort of. And so anyway, you got to dig that air cleaner thing out of the way and get it up out of the way. You'll see this thing, and check this thing out. I took it out of its bracket because the bracket's made into the air cleaner assembly. Holds it too, and I didn't need that. I can go back and get one of those because I know where it's at, what it's off of, if I need it. So we'll pop the top off this thing. And we look in here, what we got, we have 3 of these very common FOAB 14B 192-AA Ford relays. I believe these are 30 amp relays. So there's 3 of those, and then there's 2 of the smaller mini relays, which are also 5-pin relays, number 5 F57B 14B 192-AA, and I believe those are 20 amp rated. So I will probably not use this on this particular application, what I'm doing here, because it's, you know, it's kind of overkill for, I don't need 5 relays on anything right now, but it's a very nice factory setup. You know, it gives like a more finished look. So we'll keep this in reserve. If we do things to that car that need relays, this will be perfect for that. So now let's look at my favorite thing of all on this. You know, I said I just got through saying I wanted a relay, and the alternatives, like I said, were going to be to go get one of those chintzy ones that won't last, and it's a waste of money and a waste of time and a waste of everything else, which I wasn't going to do. Or you can order one off the internet, one of those everybody talks about. The Bosch makes one, which I don't trust anything German electric at all. So they may make these for Ford, I don't know, but I think HEI and Bosch and Lucas suck. So they used to call Lucas Electronics the Prince of Darkness, because you had lights on your car, it never worked. So anyway, what this is, take the top off this one too. Top doesn't come off that easy, that's good. But this is a 2-gang, I guess you could call it, relay box, and it has one of the common relays, the 30 amps I just told you about, and then it has a heavy duty 70 amp relay, and the wiring is associated wiring with it, and the bracket that goes with it, it clicks into here and it bolts onto the car, and it's even got a seal here to keep everything nice and weather tight. Very good, very good. So this will work perfectly, because this has, I'll use the 30 amp relay for the ignition coil. It's nowhere near going to pull that, but I'll reserve this in case I want to put like lights or a big horn or something like that on that car out there. Hint, hint. So that's perfect for that. 70 amps will really carry, you know, that'll work great. So it's got all the wires we need, and of course I'll take the bottom off and suss out, as they say. That's not a word, but people use that word, they make it up. But we'll suss out where all these wires go, how to hook that, So yeah, guys, that's going to work great. And what this came off of, where you would find this thing, is if you open the hood up at the junkyard, you open the hood up of about a 99 or 2000, 2001, 2002 Crown Vic or Grand Marquis, you may or may not see one of these on the right side, the passenger side fender well, sitting up on the top of the fender well, right up there, on those cars, and that's where you find it. And you can just do what I did, just take the thing off and cut the harness out, and there it is. And I think these are for the cooling fan and possibly for something that made the headlight relay. I don't know, but that's where you find them. And I looked around about 4 or 5 or 6 of those cars, and I'd say half of them had one of these. So I don't have a part number, anything like that. You just have to look. And the only thing this says is EPC on it. I don't know what that means at all. But I think this seal is actually stuck to the bottom. I think it's supposed to be in here. Anyway, there you go. So we're going to use this, and then coil combination there. And we're gonna make a much cleaner installation. So, alright guys, well that's the update on this. And so I'm sorry it's taking so long to get this thing done, but I want to do it once. Or as they say here in the South, once. So, Carrie, yeah, you know, some of you guys make fun of me for being in the South and speaking like a Southerner, but I'm telling you, I do pretty good for being in the South because you can hear some really bad grammar down here. Bad, really bad, really bad. So be glad you got me. And anyway, I was going to say one last thing about the junkyard down there. That junkyard, the LKQ, you know, the thing's a disaster as it is because they don't hardly pick anything up. And so basically, by the time a car or truck's been in there about a month or two, it looks like the thing has exploded. Just parts everywhere. So anyway, all these guys are down there today getting engines and interiors, whole sets of leather seats and worn out engines, worn out transmissions. Just get it, get it, get it. And of course you got the usual characters down there. Some guy walking around with no tools, talking on his cell phone. You know, what's he doing there? He comes over to me and asks me for a bar or two. I'm going to say I don't have it because, you know, this is not going to be junkyard welfare support. You bring your own tools, that's it. So we got that guy walking around. Then you got the road out there sounds like a drag strip with nothing but crappy, junky old trucks and cars that make a lot of noise, but they're not very fast. So they floor them taking off out there, and you know you just hear it, poor old thing going down the road down there. You know, we're not impressed by stuff like that. People that have had access to fast cars over time, which I don't have one now, but I've had a few in my time, we're not impressed by that. You know, we feel kind of sorry for the people that do that because, and then again, you know, I think to myself, well, maybe it's a good thing that people like that don't have a powerful car because they probably end up killing themselves in it. And there's always, you know, every time I've ever been, well, I take that back. That's not an accurate statement. A more accurate statement would be several times when I've been to the self-service junkyard, whether it be pull apart or LKQ or what have you, there's always been that guy that's trying to get in without paying. And you know how they do it? They think they're going to be smart enough to go in. They're loud when they go in, and they try to kind of like be aggressive and try to pick a fight and stuff like that. I was up in Nashville at the LKQ up there, and this guy was in there, and he just, you know, he copped an attitude with the guy checking him in, taking the money, and, you know, the guy asks if it's going to be $2. And the guy just rips off and says, wait, you think I ain't going to pay that $2? You think you think I'm trying to get in for free or something, trying to sneak in or something? I'm thinking to myself, yes, he does. I do too. That's why you're doing that, because you're trying to distract him and get him flustered and think he's not going to watch you and want you to go on, not ask you for your money. We know what you're doing. He said, hey, you don't need to copy no damn to me. I'm just trying to pay just as long as anybody else. And I'm thinking to myself, yep, the guilty rooster crows first, doesn't he? Sure no. We know what game you're running, pal. So that was that time. And then today, the same thing. This guy's in there, and I don't know if he's Jamaican or whatever, but he says, hey, man, can I go ahead and check? Can I go ahead and get signed in here, man? I come in here. I mean business when I come in here, you know. And he signs his name in. He gets stamped. He starts going around me back there, which I didn't care. I was just working on getting my credit card processed. And he tries to sidle along behind me. And the guy says, $3, man. Need $3 from you. And he does the same exact thing. Oh, man, he's like, I was going to pay that. I'm thinking, bullshit. You're trying to sneak in. You are trying to sneak in. You know it. You knew you were. You thought that guy wouldn't catch you. He's smarter than you are, pal. He's been behind that counter a while. Run your game somewhere else. All right, guys, 20 minutes. The buzzer's about to sound. See ya. Thanks for watching. Well, My grandparents will say something died off out there. Looks like vultures. Or maybe they think it did. There were about 5 of them just about a couple minutes ago. See him? There he comes. Maybe it's me. I thought I took a shower yesterday. I smell something out here. Well, you know, as a matter of fact, hold up a thing of garbage in the back of that truck over there. So they smell that. There's the third one. It'd be something if I landed on my truck, wouldn't it? Bees. I don't know. They might just be cruising around to see what they find out here. There's one way on up there. I don't know that that's a vulture. I think that's a hawk. There's a couple hawks that are out here too. Oh, there they are. Yeah, look. 1, 2, 3, 4. Might be a 5th one over there. I'm not sure though. Way over there coming in. Hey, I can stand out here all day looking at birds. Alright, so at this stage, I'm just doing some work, placing everything, getting where things where I want them. So what we're doing is we're putting in our bracket for the relay, which is going to go about right here. I'll show it on the camera. So I drilled my holes for that. You got a third one there, don't forget, for the little locating tab. And then the coil's going to be over in this area. So I'll show you those when we get them put in and explain just a little bit why I put them where I did. Okie dokie, so I've got everything placed now in here where I want it. I've got my relay box here, and I've got my module and heatsink here, and I've got the coil over here. I was going for hopefully more of a, you know, semi-factory appearance. I didn't really want something sticking way up in the air. You know, you got hood clearance issues anyway, so I think this is going to work pretty well where it's at, because hopefully this thing can get a little bit of airflow, even though it's heated airflow through the radiator, but a little bit of airflow around it, and kind of hopefully keep it cool, because that's the whole idea here, is you don't want anything over the engine. I mean, you got room, you know, back here on the firewall, some room, but I didn't really like that, because you look down in here, you got, you know, you're right over the exhaust manifold. We know that heat rises, so any hot air is gonna, at least when the car's stationary, is gonna tend to come up. And I know you're gonna say, well, the distributor's right above the engine. Well, that's true, it is, but nobody ever said that was an ideal location for that. It just has to be there because of what it is. So anyway, we're gonna try this and see if it works, and I'm gonna go ahead and next installment, I'm going to finish up the wiring and get it back on and finish up some vacuum lines and swap out the distributor. I still haven't found the TDC mark on this thing yet. I mean, I know there's going to be one somewhere down there on that crank pulley. There's going to be one, but I haven't found the one that's on the well, wait a minute, hold up. Now, the timing scale is supposed to be down in there on the crank, right around where the water pump timing cover is. So let's see. Hey, there it is. Can you guys peek in there and see it? Let's see. You see that thing sticking up right there about center frame, looks like a piece of pipe. Well, look just to the right of that, that's the timing scale on one of these things. So good. That'll work, because I got to set this thing to top dead center. So I can take the distributor in and out, and I know you're going to say, well, why is that? Well, it just makes it easier to have a reference in case you screw something up. But these are really, like I said, these are really not that hard to screw up because of the way the distributor is designed. Instead of having a gear like a Ford or a Chevrolet, this only has, on the bottom of this, only has a little, whatever you want to call that, flange made onto the end of it. I don't know what you call that. Anyway, that's the way it goes in a slot. What it is, there's a little hook down in where the distributor goes. There's a gear down in there. There is a gear down in there, but it's just got a slot on the top of it, so this thing just drops down on that. So you only have two possibilities. I mean, you're either going to be 180 degrees out, or you're going to have it where you're at, where you're supposed to be. So you just run that thing around until it's on top dead center. You pop the cap off, make sure the rotor's pointing to the number 1 plug wire terminal on the cap, and that's it. You know where you're at, so you know that you got it. If it's pointing over, 180 degrees the other direction, you know you got to run it around one more time. So, but anyway, it's pretty cut and dried. So I like working on these a lot better than I do a Chevy or a Ford because of that reason. Alright guys, well, I'm going to close it up for today. It's getting on up in the afternoon, and we've had a little bit of rain off and on already, sprinkles, and I got to get that mower out, change the blades on it. And we're going to come back to this. I know this is stretching out a little ways, but I set out to do this a very thorough job, so I'm going to every detail to do this. Because the first go around worked, but it was not what I would consider a very quality job, and I'll admit that. So, and one other thing we're going to do at some point coming up, once we get some miles on this thing, I guess, is we're going to change out that alternator, because we've got to, if I remember where it's at, in here somewhere, I have a, nope, I'm trying to think where I put that. That's in there somewhere, don't worry about it. But anyway, there's a Denso alternator that came off of a later model, like a 90 or 91 D 150 truck that'll go right on there, and that's a better alternator. So anyway guys, that's it. So until the next clip, I'm gonna wrap this clip up, and we're gonna put this together and get it up to you guys to take in. There's probably gonna be a few days before I get back down here, so I'll probably see you around Thursday or Friday somewhere this coming up week. I gotta go to the big town of Carthage, Tennessee. Anybody know what the big thing about Carthage is? There was a politician from Carthage, Tennessee, or South Carthage. I think it was Carthage. If you don't know already, Carthage and South Carthage are right next to each other. And that's the one I'd like to point out. One other little thing while I'm just yakking out. Oh, lost my soldering supplies. While I'm out here yakking nonsense, is that you think about town names and stuff. I've always been fascinated to a degree that, like, towns up in the northeast, there's always a lot of north so-and-so and south so-and-so and east so-and-so and east. Like if you had a town of, just for instance, one I call Waterford or something like that, you might have North Waterford, you might have South Waterford, you might have East Waterford, West Waterford, then you got Waterford Townships, you got all those things like that. And I think those are very neat names. I wish we had those down here, but in the South, and probably, out west also, but in the South, you never hear that. You hardly ever hear a South, two towns with two versions, like South this or North this. Never, hardly ever hear that. And those northeast names, like something that's got Berry on the end of it, like B-U-R-Y, you hardly ever hear like Waterbury. There's a Connecticut, I think the town of Connecticut called that, or Waterford or something like, something like the Housatonic River. You never hear names like that down here, ever. Down here in the South, you got places like Section or Fly or Burnout, or those are actual place names. I'm not kidding you, they are. Burnt Corn, Water Valley, Mellow Valley, just Just silly names, really. They are. You wonder how in the world they ever came up with them. So, no, we don't really have nice names down here. I wish we did. Okay, guys. The bees are out. See ya. I'm rambling. See you later. Bye.